The day I found out I was pregnant, a woman I didn't know sent me an Instagram DM. It was a video of my husband. In it, Liam blows a ring of smoke toward the camera, his voice a low monotone. After we got married, I don't know. I guess I don't love her like I used to. I showed him the video. He was silent for a long time before he finally looked up at me. It's been 8 years, Nora. Things get old, don't they? But later, the one who said things got old was the same one who refused to sign the divorce papers. The phone in the video shook slightly. A woman's playful giggle came from behind the camera. What about your wife, then? You don't love her anymore. Liam's hand, holding a cigarette, paused for a fraction of a second before resuming its cool rhythm. Nora? It's strange. He gave a small, wry smile and took a long drag. Then he turned back to the camera and exhaled that perfect smoke ring. After we got married, I don't know. I guess I don't love her like I used to. As the white smoke dissipated, Liam's calm, handsome face came into focus. His expression was placid, untroubled, as if saying those words cost him nothing at all. I stared at that face, my hand unconsciously crumpling the lab report from my doctor. What was this? After all the stress, all the trying, the moment we finally had what we called our proof of love, he decides he might not love me anymore. My thumb hovered over the message thread. I pressed my lips into a thin line and tapped on the sender's profile picture. There was only one post on her feed. A photo. A young woman's arm reached into the frame from the side, her fingers held up in a peace sign. A few feet away, my husband was smiling at the camera, perfectly framed inside the V of her fingers. The perspective was intimate, a blatant claim. It was the kind of picture people would ship. If the man in it wasn't Liam. I read the top comment, her own, finally met my idol. Starstruck, my nails dug into my palms. My husband, featured on someone else's Instagram. My husband, who had become someone else's idol. I wanted to call him. I opened his contact, then closed it. Opened it again. I wanted to scream at him, but I was terrified of what he'd say back. Ms. Hayes. Before the voice could finish, a single tear splattered onto my phone screen. I ducked my head, trying to hide my face, but a tissue appeared in my line of sight. I took it and looked up. It was the doctor who had just congratulated me on my pregnancy. His eyes were kind, but his tone had a professional coolness. Ms. Hayes, it's best to maintain a positive emotional state during pregnancy. Nora. A familiar voice cut through the air behind me. It was Liam. He was helping a young woman stand a few feet away. His eyes flickered between me and the doctor before finally settling on my face. What are you doing at the hospital? He asked, a crease forming between his brows. The annoyance in his voice was sharper than any confusion. My hand, about to lift the lab report, froze. The words I'd been ready to say died in my throat. Another checkup? Liam walked over, giving the doctor a curt nod before his frown deepened at me. Didn't I tell you not to rush the whole trying for a baby thing? No one at home is actually pressuring you. Can you please stop putting so much stress on yourself? I didn't answer. I just stared at the hand he had resting on the small of the other woman's back. Liam snatched it away. Nora, this is Chloe. She was with me on a site visit today, and a dog bit her leg. Don't what? Liam shut his mouth. His gaze, now fixed on me, was layered with a fresh wave of impatience. I ignored him, my eyes locked on the woman. As Liam pulled his hand away, she wobbled on her bandaged leg, stumbling slightly. But she said nothing, just bit her lower lip and struggled to regain her balance. The look transformed her bright, pretty features into something fragile and wronged. An involuntary tremor ran through my hand. My voice came out as a rasp. Chloe Banks. It's you. No wonder that giggle in the video sounded so familiar. She was an acquaintance. I first met Chloe 3 months ago. I gotten off work early and decided to surprise Liam at his office. I didn't call ahead, but the receptionist knew me and waved me on up. When I walked into his office, Liam wasn't there. Instead, I saw a young woman tidying his desk. She was sorting files into neat stacks, her movements quick and precise. She was humming a pop song, totally off-key, but full of youthful energy. I let out a small laugh. Her head snapped up. I expected her to ask who I was. Instead, her eyes went wide. She nervously wiped her hands on her jeans and bounced over to me, staring intently. I was so taken aback, I touched my own face. Is there something on my face? Suddenly, the girl dashed back to the desk, picked up a framed photo, and held it up next to my face. Oh my God, it's you. You're the real-life Mrs. Crawford, she squealed. I can't believe it. I'm shipping a real couple. The next second, Liam appeared in the doorway, his face thunderous. He wrapped an arm around my waist and glared at her. Chloe, put that down. Who gave you permission to touch my things? Chloe carefully placed the frame back on the desk, smiling sheepishly. Sorry, just got a little carried away. She was loud, a bit much. I rubbed my ears, but I couldn't help but smile. She seemed like a good kid. I've always had a soft spot for girls like that, so when she started gushing about shipping us, I actually chatted with her for a while. Every time, she'd end the conversation by pumping her fist, saying she hoped to find a love like ours someday. So, this was what she meant by someday. Nora. Chloe's face paled, her teeth digging in her lip so hard I thought it might bleed. Don't, I said with a self-deprecating smile. Don't call me that. I don't deserve it. She blinked, fighting back the tears welling in her eyes. Nora, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I wasn't paying attention and that stray dog bit me. Not only did I get hurt, but I wasted Mr. Crawford's time bringing me to the hospital. She glanced at me with wide, pleading eyes. Please don't be mad at him. Please don't let me come between you two. I was speechless. I never realized Chloe was such a good actress. The same girl who fangirled over our relationship could turn into this, all for a man. Nora. Liam's frown deepened when he saw my stunned silence. He took 2 steps forward, positioning himself to block Chloe from my view. The subconscious, protective gesture made both of us freeze. As he moved closer, I caught a whiff of an unfamiliar perfume on his jacket. The joke was, it was the same scent Chloe was wearing. The bigger joke was that I'd first smelled it on him over a month ago, back when he started coming home late all the time. It was a faint scent, not overpowering, but it was suffocating. Liam, I said, looking him straight in the eye. Don't what? You know, she just started at the firm a few months ago. She's a hard worker, and I'm mentoring her. Liam's voice caught in his throat. He stared at me, his expression shifting from annoyed to something unreadable, something dark. It was only then that I realized my face was wet. I looked down, wiping my cheeks with the back of my hand. Sorry, I lost control for a second. Liam watched me in silence for a few moments, then sighed. He looked over at Chloe. Go wait in the car. She nodded obediently and limped toward his SUV. Once she was gone, Liam lit a cigarette. He took a drag, exhaling slowly. Nora, we've been married for 4 years. Can you stop being so paranoid all the time? His tone was perfectly calm. The same detached calm he'd used in the video when he said he didn't love me as much. Liam, I said, pulling up the video and holding the phone out to him. You don't love me anymore. Is that it, Nora? It's strange. I guess I don't love her like I used to. His own voice filled the space between us. Liam froze. The cigarette between his fingers stopped moving. After a long, heavy silence, he met my eyes. It's been 8 years. Things get old, don't they? Come on, don't look at me like that, he said, stubbing out the cigarette. He even managed a small smile. I said I don't love you like I used to. It doesn't mean I don't love you at all. He took a step closer. Listen, just go home, okay? And stop stressing about the baby stuff. We'll take our time. With that, he turned and walked toward Chloe. I watched his back, stunned. He told me not to stress. How could I not? 3 years into our marriage, we went to his parents' house for Thanksgiving. The house was full of relatives I barely knew. Luckily, I've always been good with kids, and soon I was surrounded by a little flock of them. They call me Andy, some just call me by my name, and one 2-year-old boy even called me Mommy. The word made me pause, but I noticed that Liam's mother, for the first time, seemed to relax around me. She was a traditional, highly educated woman who believed marriages should be between social equals. Unfortunately for her, Liam and I were anything but. She'd never been happy about me, but she couldn't fight her own son, so she'd reluctantly agreed to the marriage. Her upbringing prevented her from ever being rude to me, but whenever she smiled and spoke to me, her eyes held a cool disdain. But that day, see me in the middle of all those children, she gave me a genuine smile. After the holiday, she said to us, Nora, you and Liam should have a child. And so we started trying, month after month of hope, followed by month after month of disappointment. Until today, this baby, the one we'd waited for through so many cycles of hope and letdown, was finally here. I was ecstatic. I thought Liam would be too, but reality had played a cruel joke on me. He really didn't love me like he used to. We'd been together for almost 8 years, and in all that time, Liam had never let anyone else get close. Even when we had our worst fights, he'd just hold me and sulk. He wouldn't stay out late, wouldn't come home smelling like someone else's perfume, and he certainly wouldn't humiliate me in front of a stranger by bringing up the painful subject of our infertility. And worse, so much worse, he had just offended another woman in front of me. Want a piece of chocolate? 2 hands appeared in front of me. One held a small square of dark chocolate, the other my purse. It was the doctor from before. You probably know this, but eating something sweet can boost your dopamine levels when you're upset. It helps. He was wearing a surgical mask, so all I could see were his calm, dark eyes. I glanced at his name tag, Leo Vance. Dr. Vance, I said, taking the chocolate and unwrapping it. Are you always this into gossip? The words came out sharper than I intended. When you're emotional, everything you say has an edge. He shook his head, unfazed by my tone. His voice was even. Generally, I have no interest in gossip. He paused, but he added, as if correcting himself, today is an exception. I stopped chewing. The rich, bittersweet chocolate melted on my tongue. It was intense, but not unpleasant. A lot like Dr. Vance's comment. Unexpected, but not unwelcome. Not exactly welcome, either, though. I took my purse, which I must have dropped. I held up the lab report and the chocolate. Thank you. I went home alone. I didn't eat. I just sat in the living room, waiting for Liam. He owed me an explanation, didn't he? But as the night deepened, the front door opened, and it wasn't him. It was his mother. I hadn't expected her. Seeing her, I couldn't tell if I was numb or just exhausted. I didn't react for a long moment. The entire day had been a soap opera. The crumpled lab report was shoved in the corner of my purse. I had no energy left to pull it out, smooth its wrinkles, and put on my usual happy face for this woman. To be fair, she wasn't terrible to me, but she wasn't good to me either. We were like two strangers forced into proximity, without Liam there to bridge the gap. Our interactions were overly polite, devoid of any real family warmth. Liam's mother frowned at me. It's this late, and Liam isn't home yet. No, I nodded. I realized that after losing that first chance to tell him my news, I didn't want to say it anymore. Or maybe Liam's own words had made me hold back. When Liam loved me, and I loved him, I would have run 99 steps if he just took one toward me. But the moment he took a single step back, the second he showed a sliver of doubt, I would retreat all the way back to the starting line, even if I still loved him. Love, for me, couldn't tolerate a single grain of sand. Did you and Liam have a fight? My coldness seemed to irritate her. Her frown deepened, and her tone grew accusatory. What did you fight about? I managed a faint smile. Isn't it normal for a married couple to fight? Why are you so worked up about it? After a long silence, she exploded. Nora, what is that supposed to mean? I'm asking you nicely what's wrong, and you talk back to me like this. Emotions are contagious. This woman, who had always prized her elegance and composure, who wouldn't deign to argue with me, was now letting my coldness strip away her years of cultivated pride. Ding-dong. The doorbell rang. Ignoring her, I got up and collected the DoorDash bag from the porch. That made her even angrier. You haven't even eaten, and you're ordering takeout again? How many times have I told you that stuff is unhealthy? You're supposed to be trying to get pregnant, and you treat your body like this. I swear, the reason you can't conceive is because you bring it on yourself. Enough. I couldn't stop my body from trembling as I stared at her, my voice tight with rage. You've been saying that for 2 years. Aren't you tired of it? How dare you yell at me? If Liam hadn't threatened to die if he couldn't marry you, do you really think you would have ever set foot in the Crawford family home? Suddenly, I felt ridiculous. Arguing with her was utterly, hopelessly ridiculous. Not happy with me. I shot back. Fine. Go find a new daughter-in-law yourself. Nora. His mother gasped, lurching to her feet. She clutched her chest, staring at me in disbelief. What did you just say? Liam called before I had a chance to repeat myself. But he didn't call me. His mother answered the phone. What is going on with you and Nora today? The minute I walked in, she started giving me dirty looks. And that takeout. Is that what you two eat at home? How can you be so careless when you're trying for a baby? Listening to her tirade, I almost laughed out loud. So, she'd been angry with me from the moment she arrived. Because I hadn't greeted her with my usual smile. Because I had challenged her authority as my mother-in-law. Her anger made her forget her education, her refinement, turning her into just another gossiping busybody. I said a few words to her, and she told me to go find another daughter-in-law who meets my standards. Her voice trailed off. Both Liam and his mother fell silent on the phone. Mom, Liam finally said, his voice strained. Put Nora on. I took the phone, my voice hoarse when I spoke. Liam, what do you have to say to me? Would he blame me, like he did at the hospital? Or would he defend me, fiercely and without hesitation, like he used to? The rasp in my voice seemed to startle him. He didn't speak for a long moment. In that silence, my mind drifted back to the first time I met his parents. It hadn't been that bad. Liam had prepped them for days, telling them I was the love of his life, the only woman he would ever marry. His mother had been quiet that day. She didn't engage, she just smiled. A smile that never reached her eyes. Before dinner was even over, Liam had thrown down his chopsticks, pulled me into his arms, and called his mother out on her cold shouldering. Later that night, he had held my face in his hands. Nora, he'd said, his voice thick with emotion. I don't need you to run 99 steps for me. You just have to take one. Just let me know you're there. I'll run the rest of the way. I promise, he'd said. I will always be on your side. The promises of youth are so precious. So precious that, years later, you can't buy them back, no matter the price. Nora, Liam finally spoke. Can you stop making a scene? Mom's getting older. I cut him off. Liam, are you coming home for dinner? Silence on the other end for a few seconds. I'm busy at work today. I won't be back for dinner, so don't wait up. He knew. He knew that ever since my parents divorced, eating was just a mechanical process for me, a way to keep my body running. It didn't matter if it was takeout or a home-cooked meal. What mattered was the person you ate with. But he was dodging the real issue. It was like the video didn't even matter to him. He thought I was just making a scene. Liam said he didn't love me like he used to. The truth is, I could feel it. I knew what it looked like when he loved me. So when he stopped, I was the first to know. He said he was busy and not to wait up. He said he was covered in dust from the office and pushed away my welcome home hugs. He said he didn't have time to look at his phone, only to reply hours later with a curcay to the stream of messages I'd sent him throughout the day. I drove myself crazy over it. But then he'd surprise me with a thoughtful gift for an anniversary, even I had forgotten, and I convinced myself I was overthinking things. Love couldn't always be a honeymoon phase. I thought we had just settled into a comfortable routine. The important thing was that we were still together. But that's not what Liam was thinking. He really didn't love me like he used to. I went up like this. Liam, I hadn't cried when he defended another woman. I hadn't cried when his mother blamed me. I hadn't cried when I realized his unconditional support was gone. But now, just saying his name, tears streamed down my face. Because I knew I was holding back the words. Liam, let's get a divorce. I know you shouldn't make big decisions when you're emotional. I learned that when I was 10, when my parents had a screaming match, decided to divorce in a fit of anger, and I became the unwanted baggage they passed back and forth. I knew better, so I held it in, letting that grain of sand chafe against my heart, unable to bring myself to end it. I admit it, I still loved him. My body trembled uncontrollably. Liam, I need to think. Just let me think. His mother left. The living room fell into a dead silence. My phone was quiet, but I kept opening my messaging app, compulsively checking for new notifications. Buzz. A red dot appeared next to my top contact. A message from my mom. I pressed my lips together and opened the chat. Thanks. You too. A polite, distant reply. Suddenly, I felt calm. The storm of emotions raging inside me went completely still. Maybe when people are hurting, they instinctively seek warmth from those closest to them. That's why, when I left the hospital, a shiver running through me despite the hot sun, my fingers had typed out that message before I even realized what I was doing. Mom, the weather's turning cold. Take care of yourself. It was such a simple, generic message, but sending it had taken so much out of me. Because I was hoping for a real response. Because I was bracing for disappointment. And it was that disappointment that finally woke me up, letting me escape from the prison I had mistaken for love. Liam didn't come home until the middle of the night. He tiptoed into the bedroom and slid into bed beside me. His familiar scent was mixed with a sharp, foreign perfume. When he tried to gently wrap his arms around me from behind, I instinctively turned over, putting my back to him. The body next to me went rigid. He whispered my name. Nora. I pretended to be asleep. Liam didn't move again. His body heat radiated across the small gap between us. I closed my eyes, wide awake. I didn't sleep until the first hint of dawn. The moment he got out of bed, my eyes snapped open, perfectly clear. I must have been crazy, walking downstairs in just my nightgown, clutching my phone. But when I saw a man and a woman standing by the flower beds at the edge of the complex, I almost laughed. A woman's intuition really is that sharp. Liam was standing in front of Chloe, his head tilted down to meet her upturned face. He was perfectly still. I watched as Chloe rose onto her toes, and he still didn't move. Their lips were inches apart when my hand went slack. My phone clattered onto the pavement. They both whipped around at the sound. In that instant, I'm sure my face was a mask of pure fury. Liam froze. Chloe stumbled back. Nora, you loud smack cut him off. The force of my hand snapped his head to the side. I shook my stinging palm, biting my lip to control the violent tremor running through my body. I walked straight toward Chloe. I saw her instinctively move toward Liam, then check herself and take another step back. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Don't move, I said calmly. When you decided to become a homewrecker, didn't you picture this scene playing out? Fear finally flickered in Chloe's eyes. Liam grabbed my raised wrist from behind and shoved me away. I was already feeling lightheaded from low blood sugar, and the push sent me sprawling to the ground. Worse, my side slammed into the concrete edge of the flower bed. Pain. It shot from my side through my stomach, radiating out to my limbs, to my heart. A searing agony that made sweat bead on my forehead. Liam seemed to realize something was wrong and rushed to help me up. Chloe bent down too, reaching for me. Suddenly, a small, grimy dog darted out from behind the bushes. It ran straight for Chloe and sank its teeth in her arm. Chloe let out a short, sharp cry. She violently shook the dog off. It yelped as it was thrown through the air, landing in a heap next to me. It's that stray again. Seeing Chloe raise her foot to kick it, I instinctively threw myself over the small animal. Don't! The dog whimpered beneath me. I couldn't tell if her kick landed on me or on it. Nora! Blood! Why is there so much blood? Liam's panicked voice echoed in my ears. I suddenly felt cold. The sun was high in the sky, but I was shivering uncontrollably. It felt like something was being ripped from my womb. An empty, hollow feeling. It hit me then. I was pregnant, but I hadn't had the chance to tell anyone. Not a single person. The little dog underneath me seemed to sense my despair, its whimpers turning into a mournful cry. I remembered when Liam and I first got together, I told him that when we moved in, I wanted to get a dog. People like me, who grew up starved for affection, need pets. Back then, Liam had pulled me in his arms and kissed my cheek. Anything you want, he'd whispered. If you want a dog, we'll get a whole family of them. But 6 months ago, when I first saw this dog by the flower bed and started feeding it, Liam had glanced with disgust at the smudge of dirt on my hand. That dog is filthy, Nora. Be careful not to touch it. The words I wanted to say, let's keep him, got stuck in my throat. I should have known then. When he stopped loving me, the signs were everywhere. As my consciousness faded, I saw Liam scoop me into his arms, but the little dog in my embrace bit him hard on the hand. He cried out in pain and grabbed its neck, about to hurl it away. Liam, don't touch him. With the last of my strength, I managed to say those words. I don't understand you people. Don't you know the first trimester is the most critical time? How could you let a pregnant woman get so agitated? Nan, what do you think? Why else would she be bleeding this much? She also has hypoglycemia. If you hadn't brought her in when you did, you could have lost them both. Doctor, are you saying she was pregnant? When I woke up, Liam was grabbing a nurse's sleeve, his face a mask of disbelief. I was cold, so cold. A profound sense of emptiness washed over me. I curled into a ball, trying to make myself smaller. This gentleman looks familiar. I think we met yesterday. A vaguely familiar voice. I try to place it. Oh, right. She's your wife. She was here for a consultation yesterday, and we confirmed the pregnancy. Yes, you were here at the same time, taking care of your employee who was bitten by a dog. She didn't tell you? The voice continued, a hint of steel beneath its calm surface. What a shame. She was so happy when she got the news, said she couldn't wait to tell her husband. She even forgot her purse on the way out. I assumed she'd told you already. Liam said nothing. It was Dr. Vance. Hearing him verbally corner Liam, I felt a little bit of warmth return to my body. Mr. Crawford, I believe your wife is awake. To be honest, I didn't want to face Liam right now. There was only one thing left to say between us, but saying it now would make all my restraint from last night feel pointless. Pathetic. Ridiculous. Just then, Liam's parents burst into the room. His mother, usually so composed and elegant, looked frantic for the second time in 2 days. Her hair was a mess, her eyes wild. What on earth happened? She demanded, her voice shrill. You were trying to get pregnant, and now you've had a miscarriage? Liam's father stood beside her, quietly taking her arm and stroking it, trying to calm her down. I suddenly felt a pang of envy. She could afford to look down on me. She had an abundance of love in her life, so she could be arrogant with me as a matter of course. Love, wasn't that the one thing I'd always been missing? When no one spoke, his mother turned her glare on me, her jaw tight. Nora, why didn't you tell us you were pregnant? We tried so hard for this baby. If you had just told us, this wouldn't have... Mom, that's enough. Liam's roar cut her off. He rushed to my bedside, his hands trembling as he reached for me, then pulled back, unsure where to touch. Stop it. This is all my fault. He looked at me, his eyes red-rimmed. Nora, I'm so sorry. The warmth that had just returned to my body vanished, replaced by a deep chill. I opened my mouth to speak, but Liam lunged forward and gripped the corner of my blanket. He was suddenly seized by a terrifying panic, as if he was about to lose the most important thing in his life. He looked at me, his eyes pleading. Don't, Nora. Please don't say it. Don't say that to me. His voice broke. Nora, I was wrong. I'm begging you. Please don't say it. A faint smile touched my lips. It turned out we knew each other far better than we thought. In that case, my restraint last night wasn't meaningless after all. He was scared, too. Scared to hear me be the one to end it. Liam. I fought to control the tremor in my voice, called his name with a heavy finality, and delivered the sentence. Let's get a divorce. The words hung in the air. The room went silent for a beat. Nori, what did you just say? I was surprised that his mother was the first to break the silence. She stared at me, as if she couldn't believe I was the one initiating this. I didn't look at her. My eyes were fixed on the man I once loved. I repeated myself, my voice clear and steady. Liam, let's get a divorce. Nora, are you crazy? His mother shrieked, stepping closer. Who in this world loves you besides my son? You're almost 30. You have no parents, no family. What are you going to do on your own if you leave him? This was Liam's mother, pretending to be concerned for my future while every word was designed to rip open old wounds and pour salt in them. Weren't you the one who complained that I could never get pregnant? I gave a slight, bitter smile, turning her own weapon against her. Well, now your son and I are getting a divorce. It's the perfect time for you to find him a new wife from a good family, one who can give you grandchildren. Nora, Liam, and his mother shouted in unison. I shrugged, wiping a tear from the corner of my eye. Don't look at me like that, Liam, I said softly. Even if today hadn't happened, even without the miscarriage, we would still be getting divorced. I managed a weak smile. We know each other best, don't we? Liam wouldn't agree to a divorce. What was that about? This marriage had become a burden for both of us. Now that freedom was within reach, he was the one holding on. I didn't argue. I just signed the divorce papers and left them for him. After I was discharged, I went back to our apartment complex. It's been 6 months. I should have taken that little dog in 6 months ago. He certainly remembered me. He'd managed to bite Chloe twice. And he'd bitten Liam, too. I smiled, wiping away another tear. A dog's love is so simple, so fierce and loyal. Patches. Patches. That's what I named him. His white fur was always messy, with patches of dirt here and there that made him look mottled. So, Patches. Usually, he'd come bounding out of the bushes after a call or two. But this time, he didn't appear. Just as I was about to go find Liam and demand to know what he'd done, Dr. Vance appeared. Are you looking for him? He asked. He was holding a leash, and at his feet was a clean, fluffy white dog. So clean it didn't match the name I'd given him at all. I crouched down and ruffled his fur, a real smile finally breaking through. Well, look at you, Patches. You clean up nice. So handsome. Leo Vance smiled too. From his standing position, he offered me a tissue. He looked away at the sky, at the ground. Wipe your tears. Thanks, I said, grateful for his tact. Where did you end up with him? The day the ambulance took you, you were clutching him. He wouldn't let anyone near you. I happen to have a dog and know a few tricks, so I took him with me. My own dog loves him, so he's been staying with me. Your dog, Bailey. Leo called out toward the other side of the lawn. A corgi came tearing toward us. Patches caught the scent of a friend and scrambled to meet her. The two dogs started tumbling and playing together. I was smiling at them when I looked up and saw Liam standing a few feet away, watching me. When he saw that I'd noticed him, he started walking over. The scene felt like a distorted echo of that day at the hospital. He was walking toward me in the same way, only now he looked like a wreck. Leo Vance, unlike last time, didn't stick around for the drama. He walked over to join the two dogs. Nora, Liam began as he got closer, but his voice trailed off. He stared for a moment, a wave of pain washing over his face. Nora, I was wrong. I fired Chloe. Can we just pretend none of this ever happened? Please. Liam, I said, shaking my head and forcing a small smile. Don't debase yourself. You know the biggest problem between us wasn't Chloe. It wasn't the baby. I paused. It was you. Liam froze, his hands clenching at his sides. It was you. I repeated softly. You didn't love me like you used to. Do we need to watch that video again? I watched his mouth open and close, but no words came out. It was such a shame. I thought we'd be together forever. The person who sent me the video was Chloe, wasn't it? It doesn't matter, Liam. We're getting a divorce. You can be with her. She's young, beautiful, more energetic and passionate than I am. You won't be losing out. And what about you, Nora? Liam cut me off, his eyes squeezed shut. What about you? Don't you love me anymore? I hesitated. Liam seized on it like a lifeline. He grabbed my wrist. You do, don't you? You still love me. Why, Nora? If you still love me, why are you doing this? Liam, I said, pulling my arm free. Your mother was right. Right about what? I smiled, a hollow, empty thing. I'm all alone. My parents don't love me. My husband doesn't really love me anymore. But what she and you both forgot is that I didn't grow up needing anyone's love to survive. In all those years before I met you, I was perfectly fine on my own. Liam, you are not indispensable to me. Is it over? When I walked back to where Leo Vance was standing, Patches trotted over to my feet. I scooped him up. Yeah, Almost. All that's left is his signature. Congratulations, the doctor said, his tone matter of fact. I glanced at him. He met my gaze without flinching. I'll take Patches with me now. Thanks for looking after him these past few days, Dr. Vance. Leo nodded. Of course. If you need anything, you have my number. After that day, my married life was officially over. I got busy finding a new job, a new apartment. Just after I'd finalized everything, Chloe contacted me. You must be feeling pretty smug, huh? She sneered as soon as I sat down across from her at the coffee shop. I looked her straight in the eye. Smug about what? She leaned back, crossing her arms. Liam doesn't love you anymore. If you had any decency, you would have divorced him ages ago. What kind of twisted mistress logic was that? I'm sorry, I don't follow. As the wife, shouldn't you, the other woman, be the one with the decency to stay away from our marriage? The one who isn't loved is the other woman. It was a real shame. I never imagined she would turn out like this. Seeing her now made my past kindness feel idiotic. But, I said with a small laugh, how long do you think I'll love you? Chloe's expression flickered, but she held her ground. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he loves me now. I'd seen enough of her delusional confidence. I stood up. You say he loves you now? That's funny, because the person clinging to this marriage, refusing to sign the divorce papers, isn't me. It's the precious Liam you think loves you so much. I paused. Of course, that's nothing to brag about. Nobody wants to be stuck with a piece of trash. As soon as the words left my mouth, an unmistakable look of glee mixed with panic crossed Chloe's face. I turned around, and there, of course, was Liam, his face pale and rigid. We could have been more civilized about this, but I want a clean break. It's been 8 years. Things get old, don't they? I never thought he'd hear those words from my lips, thrown back at him in this context. I'll be going. You two carry on. I grabbed my bag and headed for the door. Liam caught my wrist. Nora, can we talk? No, I'll sign the papers after we talk. About what? Chloe whined. Liam, did I not make myself clear? Liam shot her an irritated look. I don't love you. It was a novelty, that's all. We're all adults here. Can we just be done with this gracefully? Chloe's face went white. She opened her mouth to say something else, but Liam was already pulling me out the door. Nora, do you remember the first time we met? We walked along the lakefront, the evening breeze cool against my skin. It was the perfect atmosphere for a heart-to-heart. But I wasn't interested. No. Liam smiled sadly. It was at a club mixer our freshman year. Everyone was trying to network, but you were just sitting there quietly. You were polite to everyone, but your attention was always on one person. Your best friend, I think. Liam admitted that's what drew him to me. My capacity for such unconditional devotion. It was so open, so intense. One look, and he was addicted. Who wouldn't want to be loved like that? In an era of short attention spans and chasing the next best thing, loyalty felt like a rare commodity. So he fell for me, just as intensely. He thought they were the same kind of person. Only now did he realize he was never worthy of it. Liam, Chloe, and I are completely different people. She was bubbly and outgoing. I was quiet and reserved. He laughed, a desolate sound. I know. I want to test it. I want to see if I really didn't love you anymore. He looked out at the water. It's strange. The moment the novelty wore off, I saw things clearly. I realized too late that you were the one I loved all along. It's too late, Liam. I held my hand up, letting the wind slip through my fingers. For me, a shattered mirror can't be fixed. A crumpled piece of paper can never be perfectly smooth again. You know that. Yeah, he whispered. I know. He laughed again, but it looked more like he was crying. He remembered. Early in their relationship, curled up on the couch watching some cheesy romance movie, I had turned to him, my expression serious. Liam, if you ever stop loving me, you have to tell me. Please don't pretend. I'll know right away. I grabbed his hand. Promise me you'll tell me. I don't want to get messy and ugly like it does on TV. He had laughed and promised her. That will never happen. But he had broken that promise so easily. He knew how my love worked, that it came with principles. He knew there was no going back. And still, he let himself test the boundaries. Nora, I'm sorry. I won't bother you again. The setting sun bled across the horizon. A sudden gust of wind swept over the lake, its roar swallowing Liam's voice. But we both understood. There was nothing more to say. The day I moved, Leo Vance came to see me off. He asked, do you really have to move to a whole new city? I nodded. If I don't, I won't be able to handle it. People from your past should stay in your memory. Running into him in real life would be painful. I paused, then added for my own benefit, extremely painful. Pretend like nothing happened? I couldn't do it. Maybe other people are more pragmatic, able to maintain a peaceful facade. Not me. The second I declared it was over, Liam and I were destined to be strangers for the rest of our lives. No seeing each other, no polite greetings. He had to be relegated to memory. Otherwise, every accidental meeting would be a fresh torment. That makes sense. It'll be tough. Leo's voice was partially drowned out by a passing truck. I turned back to him. What did you say? He looked at me, a small smile playing on his lips. I said, congratulations on your new life. I smiled back. Thanks. A few years later, on a perfectly ordinary day, an early morning knock echoed through my apartment. I pulled the covers over my head. 3 seconds later, I shot up in bed. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from someone saved in my contacts as Dr. Leo, still sleeping, followed by, guess I came a bad time. Sad patches sticker. If I had known the custom sticker I made of patches would be used against me like this, I never would have sent it to him. I scrambled to the entryway and yanked the door open. I'm up. The moment the door opened, a corgi shot past me. From inside, Patches heard the commotion and came tearing out to meet his friend. Just like that day years ago, the two dogs met in the middle of the room and began a play. Leo stood in the doorway, a gentle smile on his face. He held up his hands in a gesture of mock helplessness. Bailey missed Patches too much. He couldn't wait another second. I ignored that, changing the subject. So that day I moved. What did you really say? He took a step closer, not missing a beat. I said, that makes sense. It's just getting a hospital transfer will be tough. I stared at him for a few seconds. Leo Vance, you are such a weirdo. He simply nodded, his smile widening. Nora Hayes, you're the one who made me weird. TSK. After all these years, I still couldn't win an argument with him. Epilogue. Liam, when Chloe asked Liam if he didn't love Nora anymore, he froze. He didn't know. He was just bored. After 8 years, the initial passion had faded. The sweet moments that once felt essential now felt like an obligation. He found himself constantly having to remember why he loved her, clinging to old memories instead of present feelings. When did it start? When did their marriage become something sustained by the past? But the moment he actually said the words out loud for the camera, he regretted it. I guess I don't love her like I used to. The sentence was incomplete. What he meant was, I don't love her like I used to, but I can't live without her. He couldn't leave her. He never intended to. He just wanted some space, a moment to figure out what was going on in his own head. But Nora never heard the second half of that sentence. And even if she had, what difference would it have made? Liam thought, with a bitter smile. She would never have come back. He knew Chloe was nothing like Nora. He never thought he'd actually be tempted. But when Chloe started flirting with him, using clumsy, obvious tactics, he found himself playing along. There was even a malicious part of him that wanted Nora to find out. See, the girl you trusted is trying to steal your husband. But when she did find out, when he saw her standing there in front of him and Chloe, looking so broken and lost, he regretted it instantly. He was a monster. He had never wanted to see her look so defeated. And yet, he had let it happen. He had chosen novelty over her. He hadn't been completely oblivious that day at the hospital. He'd seen the small, aborted movement she made, the way her hand clutched the paper. He knew what it was. She was pregnant. It came out of nowhere. At the exact moment he was questioning his love for her, she was pregnant. In that instant, all he felt was irritation. He knew a baby would make things complicated. What kind of complicated, he couldn't articulate. So he pretended not to see. He cut her off. He even said those cruel words to her. It's been 8 years. Things get old, don't they? It was easier to run. When things got messy, it was easier to just give up. But he never imagined she would have a miscarriage, and that it would be his fault because he shoved her. How had it come to this? All he wanted was a little time to think. But time ran out. When Nora woke up in the hospital, the look she gave him told him everything. There was no going back. Liam panicked. So what if he didn't love her as much? Did that mean they couldn't be together? All he wanted was to stay with her. He begged her not to say the words. But Nora was right. They knew each other too well. He knew, even as he begged, that it was already over. After the divorce, Liam never saw Nora again. He never heard a single piece of news about her. Sometimes he'd wake up in the middle of the night and laugh at his own stupidity. He knew, with Nora, there were no second chances. The moment she decided to leave was the moment they became strangers who would never cross paths again. The world suddenly felt vast and empty. For the rest of his life, he would never see her again.